My dad was at everything important, but he wasn't around all the time. I got my lunch money and tip money because he worked the valet after he worked for the levee board, right? I couldn't find my dad for 2 weeks after Katrina because he was living at the levee board when everybody else in Louisiana got an opportunity to evacuate. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm proud that that's my dad. I'm proud that my dad rolled up to my football games in his valet uniform and then drove to work before the game was over. Like, I'm proud that I had to, in my senior year, drive him to work, drop him off, because I didn't have a car. Like, I couldn't get me a car as a senior, and like, I had to be at school at a certain time, so I couldn't catch the bus. I would drive to the school, actually catch a ride with a friend. My dad would catch a ride with somebody so he could come back and get his car. Like, they made those sacrifices. So what that, like, I ain't fucking see him every day. You know, and I just think, man, like, I am having a hard time with that, you know, because I think sometimes it's like, you're the best you may have been individually, but you being the best individually is not what everybody thinks is the best for them. And that's a tough place to be.
What do you think about that, White Star GB?
It hit home to me because that's my story with my dad. You know, dad was a yellow cab owner operator in Manhattan, and worked from before we woke up to about when we were going to bed. So he wasn't around much. He was around the weekends though. But, you know, that was his, like, downtime and stuff like that. We didn't really bother him too much. But I definitely appreciated the hustle, even while it was going on. You know what I mean? Even though, like, I kind of understood at an early age that, you know, if I ask him for something, he always got it. He's not around a lot because he has to grind. And we lived off the fruits of his labor. You know, we were able to move into a different bracket. He was able to get my mom in school and get her through, and, you know, put us in school and everything like that. It's the part at the end that kind of is where I kind of disagree a little bit, where he said he's struggling with being the best version of himself, but still pleasing everybody. I kind of feel like he had to learn from where his father fell short and had to fill in those gaps a little bit. So
you feel like you need to see a flawed system in order to try to.
Not necessarily.
It's never perfected.
It's never perfect. Yeah.
But you could build on it and make it better.
Absolutely. But I don't think you need to see a flawed system. You can have the perfect parents and just be like, all right, I'm recreating that, you know? Mm-hmm. But I feel like if you felt like someone fell short somewhere, when you're in that same position for somebody else, you could kind of see where that person fell short at, and you could definitely plug in and, you know, be present. Because even from last week's episode, everybody that we heard speak about parenthood and fatherhood, I think the number one thing that everybody said was presence.
Yeah.
You know?
But I hear you speak to that same sentiment that you just spoke about, right? But my question to you is that, did you get that thought process as an adult now, or did you feel that way at the time when you were younger and you know your father was grinding it out?
I felt like that young is not going to be there as much. Mom was there, but you be good?
Yeah.
How about on your side? What do you think about it?
I get what you're saying. Right? But because my father was the same. He worked a lot. He didn't make it to a lot of my stuff. Now, was I complaining about it? And I did. I knew he was working, right? My mother would always say that my father was a workaholic. And I took what my mom said, and I just, oh, yeah, he's working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't the type of kid that would be like, yo, you didn't make it to anything or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not like I didn't notice. Maybe even at the time, I probably didn't even really care too much because, I remember my mom making a lot of the games. And, it got to the point where it wasn't even expected.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't expect my father to show up to certain things because I knew he had to work.
Did it ever feel selfish?
Did I feel like he was being selfish?
Yeah.
I never felt like that.
Yeah. And
I get what you're saying when you understood it.
Yeah.
But I'm speaking today. I did notice that he wasn't there. I don't hold it against him or anything like that because I understand, and definitely as an adult at this point in time, I definitely understand. But I don't miss too much of my kid stuff.
Right.
And I think I work pretty hard, and I'll miss something. I'll miss some work. I might miss some money here or there, but I'll make it there. Based on the way my father was, I'm trying to have a little bit more balance. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And my thing is this, man. I feel like money is cool, but it's not enough to move the needle where it's like, all right, when I die, I'm gonna be worth, tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. So the experiences will probably be worth more than the dollars that I would make anyway.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and you understand the balance. You know what I mean? Going through it and knowing and speaking to people. That's the thing. Not so much of my experience, hearing even my brothers and my sisters' experience, and hearing other people speak about how much it means to them for their parents to be present at things. That's what kind of made me like, okay, this is important, So I do got to kind of show up because these things matter,
Experiences in life matter. That's what you're gonna remember. So my wife, she's a nurse, right? So she at one time, when she was in the field, she was doing work with ALS patients, right? And it was a guy that lived in for you guys that are not from New York, the North Shore in Long Island is like heavy money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the Brookvilles,
the up on the water,
upper Brookville,
helicopter
Muttontown,
to the
and all
city,
that stuff like that.
Helicopter to the city, all that fly shit.
So he lived up there, and he had like big house, guest house, all that good stuff, right? And this guy, he has a company that left to his kids or whatever that's gonna, they probably have generational wealth, right? And he's dying. He's pretty much dying at this time. Like, ALS is not reversible, right? So he knew he was going, but she would speak to him, and he would talk not about money stuff. He would talk about the experiences. He would be there with his wife talking about, oh, you remember when we went here?
Yeah.
When we had, we did this, we snorkeled, we did it at night, we scuba dived and all that, Now, maybe some of the experiences cost some money, right?
Scuba diving at night. Sounds like some money there. Yeah, snorkeling at night.
Even, he would remember like, yo, you remember we ate this over here? That, like, the type of stuff he would talk about was like, it really didn't have everything to do with bread. You understand what I'm saying? It was about him being present in his wife's life, them having experiences together, and with his family. So I think a lot of us, we need to put that into perspective.
Yeah, find that balance, yo.
Yeah, man.
Find that balance.
Yeah, man. You gotta work hard, but don't work yourself to death. And you got to have some balance where if you work hard, you play hard. And I'm not saying play hard like just rip and run, but even spending time with your family.
Yeah.
That shit is very, very important.
Because even now that my daughter is out of state, it's kind of like, I kind of feel like as soon as I leave, I feel like it's like I flip over the hourglass, and I feel like that clock is ticking until I got to get back over there, you know, to like to like flip the hourglass over again, just to let her know that she's supported, you know, she's not alone in the world, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, it's important to really, you know, put that time in. And if you feel that you're not doing enough in a certain thing, that means you're not doing enough. And that's where with Ryan Clark, where like he's struggling to be, you know, the best version of himself and to be the best version of himself for other people. If you feel like one of your cups aren't as full, you got to pull back or something and start pouring into that. I know a lot of times people have obligations and they got to be places and they got to do stuff. He's on ESPN podcast, everything like that. So he's ripping and running, but yeah, he got to find that time, and that's my advice for him, and that's my advice to a lot of busy fathers, yo. Find that time, man. Like, you know, I feel like I don't even feel like it's beating a dead horse. I feel like it's one of the core principles of Cigars and Whiskey at this point, especially pertaining to fatherhood. Be present.
Yeah, men, you are more than your paycheck. Remember that. You're more than your paycheck.